Thank you, Brother Eric, and welcome everyone to our Thursday night session this evening. And we have something that I think is so appropriate for the time in which we live at this moment. It seems to me that all we hear about lately in the psychology world is emotional mindfulness. And I think it was John Kabat-Zinn that kind of put that on the map. And exactly what that means to me is that every single time I'm doing something and my mind isn't on what I'm doing, if you know that feeling, well, where is it? And why isn't that a healthy thing? And tonight we're going to merge, I believe, beautifully techniques in emotional mindfulness and definitions of emotional mindfulness, because we have a wonderful BK psychologist with us tonight, Alma, and we're going to merge that with the spirituality that Alma and I both study. And we're going to have as a special guest later on, Sister Anjani, whom you've all met and is head of Global Harmony House right here in Great Neck, Long Island. So she's going to be focusing perhaps maybe a little more than we will have by the end of the session, on the spiritual aspect of it. So when I'm standing in the kitchen doing dishes, am I really supposed to pay attention to the water in the sink? Well, the answer is yes, if I want to find peace. And perhaps Brother Eric could do a whole interesting video on watching the water circle and go down the drain, and we can meditate to that the way we've meditated to so many interesting things that he's supplied for us and other visitors here. But where is my mind? I know that my mind may really be that wild animal that Brother Eric was talking about. And my mind may want to take me to worrying about the future, or my mind may want to take me back to something that happened that upset me. And I find that I paid attention to watching what my mind was doing, to detaching and observing my mind years ago when I was studying John Kabat-Zinn and mindfulness. And I realized that my mind was mostly at that time in the future or in the past. And that can be very turbulent. That can be upsetting. It can be joyful, of course, but mostly we are very burdened today. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from both of our guests this evening. And I want to just tell you a little bit about our first guest, who is Sister Alma, is an experienced clinical director and does hospital work and has her own private practice also in the health industry. And she is very skilled in grief counseling and mindfulness and family therapy and clinical supervision. She does have a PhD from Fordham University and is the clinical director of a Vision of Self Psychological Services, which provides psychotherapy to children, to adolescents and their families. So she has been actually a student of Raja Yoga for 38 years, even though she looks so young. She must have started really young. And I've had the joy and the privilege of rooming with her last weekend for 4 days at Peace Village. You know, we've spoken about our retreat home up in Hunter Mountain. And it was, despite the rain outside on 3 of the 4 days, it was the most beautiful, mindful experience, not only to get to know Sister Alma better, but to share the beautiful surroundings. So if any of you want to think about a lovely spring or fall or summer little escape from the city, if you live nearby, although we had people all over the country come and from Canada, and it was a beautiful, beautiful retreat that we enjoyed so much. Anyway, back to tonight's topic. So we're going to hear from Sister Alma first, and then Sister Anjani will join us later on and do some meditative work. So make sure you stay to the very end, because we have a lot planned for you this evening. So without further ado, Sister Alma, are you there?
Sister Alma was there, seemed to have an issue with her camera. And,
I know.
She has disappeared. So
she's disappeared. Okay. I know she was having a little bit of trouble with her Zoom before we went on. Let me see if I have.
Is it possible to maybe flip the program? And since we have someone here, maybe we could start there. Here she's back on again.
Okay. And you know what? Before she comes back, are you okay, Alma? All right. I just want to read the blurb. Are you with us? Are you unmuted?
Yes.
Can you hear? Okay.
We can see
I just
it
want to
here.
read this beautiful blurb, if that's okay. On the flyer, healthy mind, beautiful soul. And of course, the topic tonight is how to tame a wild mind, the psycho-spiritual approaches to daily living. And the blurb says the mind is like a wild horse. And I can't get this bigger so I can read it. This is not a good technological evening so far. Some 80% of our thoughts are about the past or the future. What do we do with these? They call them ants, automatic negative thoughts. And that's what we're going to explore tonight. And Sister Alma, you're here, so I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to turn it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Louise, for such a lovely introduction. I'm very excited to be here tonight. It's really a great honor for me to be with you because I come from a country of 7,000 islands. And if you look on the globe, you can't even find the island where I was born and grew up in.
Really?
So you can imagine. It's
the Philippines? Philippines,
yes.
Right?
Yes. And I also would like to congratulate everybody here today who took the time to say yes to their own growth, to positivity in their life, and to just create the time and space for this. Living in New York City, which is the #1 stress city in the world, it's really important that we carve out this time for ourselves. So again, congratulations for joining us for this hour. And my job is just to give you a taste of what psychology is. And psychology comes from a Greek word, psyche, that means the soul. So it's really the study of the soul. And the soul, anything intangible, and we discussed the mind. And later on in the history of psychology, they realized the mind and the behavior also are linked. But as I said, this is just a hint of psychology. I won't go deep because I would like us to all experience to do some practical use and learn some techniques on how to tame this wild mind of ours. And for starters, Brother Eric, we have a short video on one attempt to tame this mind. Can we have the video, please? Thank you.
Dr. Switzer?
Yes, come in. I'm just washing my hands.
I'm Catherine Bigman. Janet Carlisle referred me.
Oh, yes. You're being buried alive in a box.
Yes, that's me. Should I lay down?
Oh, no, we don't do that anymore. Just have a seat. And let me tell you a bit about our billing. I charge $5 for the first 5 minutes. And then absolutely nothing after that. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Too good to be true, as a matter of fact.
Well, I can almost guarantee you that our session won't last the full 5 minutes. Now, we don't do any insurance billing, so you would either have to pay in cash or by check.
Wow, okay.
And I don't make change.
All right.
And go.
Go.
Well, tell
What?
me about the problem that you wish to address.
Oh, okay. Well, I have this fear of being buried alive in a box. I start thinking about being buried alive and I begin to panic.
Has anyone ever tried to bury you alive in a box?
No, but truly thinking about it does make my life horrible. I mean, I can't go through tunnels or be in an elevator or in a house, anything boxy.
So what you're saying is you're claustrophobic.
Yes, that's it.
All right, well, let's go, Catherine. I'm going to say 2 words to you right now. I want you to listen to them very, very carefully. Then I want you to take them out of the office with you and incorporate them into your life.
Well, shall I write them down?
Well, if it makes you comfortable, it's just 2 words. We find most people can remember.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, here they are. Stop it!
I'm sorry?
Stop it!
Stop it?
Yes, S-T-O-P, new word, I-T.
So, what are you saying?
You know, it's funny. I say 2 simple words, and I cannot tell you the amount of people who say exactly the same thing you're saying. I mean, this is not Yiddish, Catherine. This is English. Stop it.
So, I should just stop it.
There you go. I mean, you don't want to go through life being scared of being buried alive in a box, do you? I mean, that sounds frightening.
It is.
Then stop it.
I can't. I mean, it's been with me since childhood.
No, we don't go there. Just stop it.
So, I should just stop being afraid of being buried alive in a box.
You got it. Good go. Well, it's only been 3 minutes, so that will be $3.
Actually, I only have a 5, so
Well, I don't make change.
then I guess I'll take the full 5 minutes.
Fine. All right. Well, what other problems would you like to address?
I'm bulimic. I stick my fingers down my throat.
Stop it! Nut of some kind? Don't do that.
But I'm compelled to. My mom used to call me fatty.
No, we don't go there.
But I've been having this dream.
No, we don't go there either.
But my horoscope did say.
We definitely don't go there. Just stop it. What else?
Well, I have self-destructive relationships with men.
Stop it! You want to be with a man, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then stop it. Don't be such a big baby.
I wash my hands a lot.
That's all right.
It is?
I wash my hands all the time. There's a lot of germs out there. Yeah, don't worry about that one.
I'm afraid to drive.
Well, stop it! How are you going to get around? Get in the car and drive, you kook. Stop it!
You stop it! You stop it!
What's the problem, Kathy?
I don't like this. I don't like this therapy at all. You're just telling me to stop it.
And you don't like that.
No, I don't.
So you think we're moving too fast? Is that it?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right, then let me give you 10 words that I think will clear everything up for you. You want to get a pad and a pencil for this one?
All right.
Are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, here are the 10 words. Stop it or I'll bury you alive in a box!
So, so just a little, right, teaser. So, I was thinking of how to introduce you to at least one of the recommended modern day therapy, which is cognitive behavior therapy. And it just says that whatever we're feeling, like anxiety or depression, really stem from our thoughts, our mind.
Alma, your voice
So-
isn't totally clear. Can you hear me? Did you say behavior mod therapy?
Cognitive behavior therapy. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me
That's
now?
good.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
sorry about that. So cognitive behavior therapy just says that our thoughts create our feelings of anxiety or depression. So our thoughts can be terribilizing. Oh yeah, brother Eric, can you show the slides? I mean, you can just, so the first slide is the cognitive behavior therapy that just says that if we're feeling sad, lonely, worried, it's because of the thoughts we create. And to give a concrete example, I just looked at my text messages, right? I would get text messages from clients, and currently, just let me know if you can't hear me. Currently, I work with children of parents who are in danger of deportation. So let's see what's on. So this kid texted me, and he told me an incident in the classroom. What happened was there was this kid who he had an altercation with, and who threatened him that he will stab him with a knife. And so next slide, please. So ever since that time, he was so scared that he had to take another bus that just to avoid the kid, because they have the same route to go to the school. So he took another bus that added 2 more miles for him, 2 more miles extra walk to get home. So that's one. And then during the ride, he would call his mom every ride just to make sure that the kid isn't in the bus. So this has been happening ever since that incident. And so on a slide, I wrote down that scenario and what the kid texted me, because in his text, those were his thoughts. So this was a text. As a result of this, I always fearfully check behind me and stay on call with my mom until I get home for my own safety. And due to this kid, I'm taking the bus, who takes the bus from the same place as me. I now take a bus from a different location and walk around 2 miles to reach there. It just causes a lot of stress since he made a threat about stabbing. And I always feel like he's going to run up and stab me out of nowhere. So if you look at what he texted, this is a clear case of what cognitive behavior says of catastrophizing, which means thinking of the worst case scenario, that he might get killed by this kid, and the terribilizing, horribilizing, how terrible this situation is. It's really horrible and terrible, but the mother has to get involved and he has to be on the phone with his mother. So I'm just wondering, those who are watching, raise your hand on the chat box if something like scary like this happened to you, or you've been very anxious. You feel free to just raise your hand. And I guess, right, being human, these things just happen to us. So so the first part in how we help the kid. So it says here, cognitive behavior therapy our thoughts create the feelings, which in turn result into behaviors, responses. So his behavior is, right, is to be really scared and to avoid, more of avoidance, the avoidance response. So in the next slide, you'll see that these are what we call the automatic negative thoughts. The automatic negative thoughts are cognitive distortions. Usually, they're also called limiting beliefs, but it limits us, right? Like what happened to the kid? Now he has to go on this extra walk, and now he has to bother his mother every day because he's just so afraid. And these beliefs of ours can be compared to what you call an invisible jail, right? Invisible jail cell. We really don't have the bars that stop us. It just stops us. The beliefs are in our mind, that stays there, but it just, like our hands are tied. So that's the part, right? We cannot help these automatic negative thoughts because of some biological underpinnings, right? Our ancestors, the cavemen, are always exposed to such dangerous situations. They wouldn't know if a wild animal is right behind them. So they're always afraid of their environment. So they say there's a biological pre-wiring. So that's one example. That's why there's the negativity bias. We're always thinking of the worst thing or the negative, right? We tend to be negative. Actually, like preparing for this talk, there's a part of me that says, no, I can't do this. Then another part, I can do this. Then another part, maybe I cannot do this. So, it's the back and forth, right? The self-doubt. How many of you here, experience self-doubt? So just, raise your hand if you want to. So this is a little participative. And so that's one part, right, of being aware of these cognitive distortions of horribilizing how horrible my situation is. And when carried to the extreme, right, this is extreme reaction, sometimes people are led to just give up on life, right? If my life will be horrible all the time, then might as well, just exit this cruel world. So we try to analyze the situation. I use ATC. There's an antecedent, right? What happens before we create that thought? And in that boy's situation, that was the threat by this kid with a knife. And then the thoughts are created. And usually the thoughts and feelings, right, they occur simultaneously. It's hard to tease. And the consequence is, right, how he tries to cope is the family has decided to stay on call with your mom until you get home. You take another bus to get home. So how do we help them make the shift, right, to limiting oneself, sacrificing your freedom? How can we help the client to make the jump to the right side, right? The right side of this side is, how do we dispute these challenging thoughts, these ants, these automatic negative beliefs? And I thought that when we limit ourselves, right? I wrote there, we say no to ourselves, right? We decide to stay safe and be afraid of risk. And the right side is, we say yes to ourselves when we try to get out of our comfort zone, when we trust ourselves and our experience. So the kid, right, we were discussing about the situation, and he came with the realization that, hey, I'm going to college soon, right? I have to be street smart. I cannot depend on my mom, right? I have to find solutions for this. So he was empowered and realizing that he cannot live in fear. So the next slide is, I have some takeaway points. And, Filipinos like italics. No, not iPad. What do you call that? Oh my God, acronyms. So one is CNC. Check and change. Check our thoughts, right? Are they horribilizing thoughts, catastrophic thoughts, terrible? And then number two, right? We try to dispute them or try to challenge them. So I wrote here, when we check our limiting beliefs, we have to ask, what's the evidence? What's the evidence? Of course, there's so much violence in school, but that this will happen, and what problem solving can I do so this doesn't happen? And then the number 2 point I like is the DNL. DNL is dishes and laundry, right? We have to do dishes every day. We have to do laundry every day. And it's the same thing. We have to keep at it, checking and changing our thoughts on a regular basis. In Raja Yoga, we have a practice of traffic control. Every hour, we try to check where our thoughts are. And then 3 is R&R, which is rest and relaxation. We have to be relaxed in order to be creative in our solutions. I cannot understand. So we need a quiet mind, a silent mind, to respond creatively and effectively to problems in life. And that's how meditation has helped me in my life. And that's why we have Sister Angeline here to help us start that journey. Sister Angeline?
Om Shanti and good evening, everyone. Alma, that was wonderful. Wish it could have been a bit clearer, but enough for us to understand and pick up. And I was looking at that video and I was thinking, if someone's going to yell at me and tell me stop it, would I be able to stop it, right? One is to tell someone stop it, and the other is to yell at me and tell me to stop it. And when we look at our minds, we will see that, and you can see the expression on the girl that Catherine was her name, was challenging for her to stop it because it's an energy that you pick up. It's the sound, the voice, the way something is expressed, all of that sets us going. And so we have a mind that just takes off in all directions. It hears the sounds, it goes there. It sees something, it goes there. Whatever is happening, the mind just picks up and races on with it. It's easy for it to reach out into the past and reach into the future, and we can ask ourselves, how much do I keep my mind with me in this present? Even right here, right now, in this room, is my mind present with me? And so there are drastic situations in people's lives. There's so much that's happening across the world that we could think and worry about, and the mind creating confusion, or even our simple day-to-day lives that we have to live. You know, if I have to get on this program tonight and my camera doesn't work or something doesn't work, the mind is also going to take off and start thinking and racing. The day-to-day things that we have to do, and it's not in place, how do we feel? And we're feeling based on how we're thinking. And so what am I doing to my mind to just allow it to be the way it wants to be? It races and I don't know how to stop it. And this is why in the world of psychology, I think it's getting very busier, right, Alma? More classes, more people are disturbed, lots more experiences of pain and suffering and fear and all the things that's creating discomforts in one's life. And who is going to help the world today in terms of taking care of the thoughts that people are creating today? And so what I like about this meditation gives me a sense of direction. It gives me a sense of this mind belonging to me. It's my mind. It's just like a mother looking at the child and say, this is my child, this is my baby, and this baby is going to learn to walk. And when this baby knows how to walk, this little child now is going to start running around the house. So I need to start taking care around the house that this child doesn't hurt itself, doesn't roll down the stairs or climb the wrong stairs or, you know, go hit their heads against something or reach for the stove or, you know, all the things that a little child would do. So the parents start looking out for the child and taking the precautions necessary to help that little one. And that is basically to protect the child. And now I have my mind, who can be like this little child, curious, inquisitive, wants to know everything. I remember my little nephew just getting up, started to walk, and he found a little, I can't remember what was it, and he would have seen people plugging in the fan or something. So he took that and was going straight to the outlet to plug it in. And so you see how curious they are. And so our minds are also the same. It's very curious. And in being curious, it's like a wild mind. It's just races for everything around. You like, you know, even to feel I'm claustrophobia, it's a fear. So where is it coming from? It's coming from me not paying attention. That somewhere something would have left the experience of fear inside of me, and I didn't address it. I didn't take care of it. And so I look at this mind as a little child, just like my little child. And I'm the parent of this little child. And I observe the little child. I wouldn't control the child. Because if you control the little child only knows how to run when you turn your back. But if you have conversation with the child while the child is, you guide the child to sit and you're talking to the child and helping the child to understand, the child will respond with a lot of love. You give the child a toy to play. The child will pick up on that and play with it. So you help the child in some way so that the dangers that you see ahead of, the game of knowing that this is it, you start taking care of it by helping the child and having conversations. Sometimes we think that they're too little to understand, but they do understand. And they will start telling you what you told them. So in the same way with my mind, I start having these conversations. So if my mind, take for example, I want to leave one place to go to another place in the early hours of the morning, I create friendship with nature. I create friendship with everything around me by just saying good morning, creating a beautiful, fearless feeling inside of me, a feeling that is very powerful, that who I am, whom I belong to, this relationship I have with humanity, the relationship I have with nature, the relationship I have with God, and the relationship I have with myself. And these beautiful thoughts of peace and love and silence, what it does, it gives me an inner strength that when I have to move out into the early hours of the morning, I feel very safe. I feel very giving at that time. And so there is this feeling of fearlessness. There's no thought of worry, okay, is someone going to come or someone not going to come? But I can understand when Alma was talking about that child. Here's the innocence of a child. And the child going through where someone is telling you, this is what I'm going to do to you. And so it takes a lot of grooming to create the fearlessness of the mind, of how strong you are, so that that person will not touch you, because you're strong in your mind, you're strong in your thoughts, and you're also the one who can create peace with another person who has anger towards you. So there are many different ways that we have to work with our minds that that doesn't stay still. It doesn't necessarily wants to be quiet. You know, many times people say, you stop the mind from thinking. You know, some meditation do teach, you know, don't think. But I can't tell my mind don't think, because even to tell my mind don't think is to think. I'm still thinking by telling my mind not to think. And so here at the meditation center, what we teach ourselves and we teach others is guide your mind. When you learn how to guide your mind, I'm going to guide my mind in a direction that will bring me the experience of what I'm choosing I want to experience. So if in the early hours of the morning when I step out, I want to experience the joy of the morning. I want to hear the birds. I want to feel that, you know, I am at peace and in friendship with the world. Then I guide my mind with those thoughts that gives me and creates the experience that I choose to live in, not what the atmosphere could create for me. Because I remember once when I saw someone, it was like the odd hours, and you wouldn't think that someone is going to be out at that time, even in a space where you would, you know, you would think that person could have created fear in me, being present where he's not supposed to be. But I decided in my mind, I am not going to allow a scene from the outside to create fear in me. I'm not going to make that scene make me become afraid that I'm going to stop doing the things that I want to do in life. So I created the thoughts I choose. And in doing that, I felt it was like silent good wishes to that person who was from nowhere standing in this same space where I have to walk and move on day after day to do what I needed to do. And it's all to do with how I program my mind, how I choose to think. And because I'm coming from a place of my own inner strength, my own inner peace, that love for everyone, the love for nature, or love for all that's around me, I feel very safe inside. And that helps me to take more power from God, because if I am afraid, it will be difficult to take that power from God. I remembered an experience, some of you will remember when we had a little bit of a tornado in New York, and especially it was in Long Island in Great Neck. And this was a few years ago. I remember being here at the meditation center, And I looked outside and I saw it was so dark. It was evening, but it suddenly became very, very dark. And I said, oh, the rain is coming and I should just get home before the rain comes. And I left the center and I walked to where we stay. And as I entered the house, the rain poured. And I said, well, this is pretty suddenly. And then I started hearing the sounds, it's like the transformers going off like firecrackers and all of that. I said, really? So I went to the window and I looked out. And then I saw the transformers going on fire. The trees fell, and so many things that's happening in our neighborhood. And I looked around and I said, seconds ago, if I was outside, I would have been in that storm. But when we keep our minds very peaceful, receiving from God and creating the friendship with Mother Nature, it's as though at that moment, something comes in to save you. Something comes in to protect you. Whether it's your pure thoughts for everyone, including Mother Nature, whether it's the pure thoughts for your own self, whether your relationship with God, or maybe it's combined with everything and everyone. And so I looked at that scene and I said, I had to not only thank my own pure thoughts, but thanking God and thanking Mother Nature for not touching me and allowing me to be so free to reach where I needed to be. And of course, after the storm was next morning, we stepped out and looked at whole things. There was so much damage. So looking at the scenes of life, allowing those scenes to impact me positively will help me to deal with bigger scenes. But allowing scenes of life to impact me in a negative way will give me the experience where I would live a life of fear. I would constantly be in fear because one scene will build up into another, into another, into another. And what I'm doing, I'm suppressing an emotion of fear and living a life from fear. So do we want to live like that? And of course, I know for myself, I don't want to live a life of fear. There are many scenes today that could create fear. We could look at the wars that's happening that can create fear. We can look at the violence that's happening and creating fear. We could look at the stories of the banks and create fear. We could look at the relationships we have in life today and create the fears. Because one of the biggest factors for a racing mind is fears. The many, many fears. It's as though, they say someone is running away from something. Sometimes it's like that. The mind looks like it's just trying to run away from something. So instead of me pausing and seeing what is it that I need now to take care of within myself, I turn on loud music. I do something that that's not going to benefit me. So I'm creating walls and blockages and all the things that not going to support an inner spiritual growth, a growth that's going to bring changes, a growth that's going to bring benefit to me. I'm not paying attention in that direction. I'm paying attention to external. Let me not do this, or let me do it this way. As I said, it's blocking, creating blocks of the mind by loud music, or the TV, or being with friends all the time, or doing the things that I feel I'm escaping, I'm running away from. But actually, it's my mind that's so busy and is so engaging and so involving in all the different things. But if I start teaching myself to use the pause button, just pause. Okay, take for example, something I feel inside of me like butterflies, you know, you start feeling the fear of like something like butterflies in the stomach. Just tell yourself, let me pause for a moment. And when I pause in this moment, let me create a thought that I feel I want to be. I want to be fearless, for example. How would I be fearless? I will be fearless when I think that I live forever. I'm a soul, I'm energy, and this energy is God's child, and this energy is forever. Just that one simple thought. I use that thought again and again. I start applying the pause. Just pause for seconds. Change the thought and see what happens. And again, that's just a little taste of what we can do with our minds. So let's experiment for a couple of minutes. And those who have, Luis is going to ask you about your question and answers. So you can keep that ready, but let's have a couple of minutes of remembrance where we're looking at ourselves. We're looking at that which is so beautiful. It's a beautiful gift that I have. And it's the beautiful gift of this mind. When I see it as the most beautiful treasure I have, I will treasure it. But if I constantly speak wrong things to my mind, insult my mind, criticize my mind, having the wrong conversations within, my mind becomes more aggressive. My mind becomes more sad. And so I choose. It is the same mind that can be so beautiful to take me to any part of the world, to make me see that which is most beautiful, to make me feel that life is most wonderful. Let me choose these quality of thoughts that brings me peace. I can look at the beautiful spring and appreciate the beauty and see it is the mind that is appreciating. It is the mind that is thinking how beautiful are the flowers. And it is the same mind that could create not so beautiful thoughts. And this mind is my mind. The more I am aware that this mind is my mind, I will use it in the most positive way, in the most beautiful way, in the most creative way, because it is the thoughts that I create that will bring me the feelings, the experiences I want in life. So wake up every morning. Wake up to ask yourself, what would I like my day to be like? What would I like to feel today? What would I like to experience today? Let that be an aim for the day. And just use that as a guiding tool to create a most wonderful day. And when I can live today in the most beautiful way, the rest of my life will be beautiful. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Okay. Om Shanti. Very beautiful solution. So I would like to encourage anyone who has a comment or a question to, I think we can unmute you at this point, right? Brother Eric, can they speak?
Yes, they can.
Okay. Has anyone, my question just to start us off would be, has anyone ever had an experience of overcoming fear? And just something specific where you found that courage or that method that Sister Anjani talked about when you've encountered something like the trauma, if I can call it that, that Alma talked about. Like, how do we make these two things come together? Is there anyone with practical experience? I know I can talk about myself because, most of the things I think, tell me if I'm wrong, Alma, most of the things you were talking about occur in early childhood. We have some sort of traumatic event that causes anxiety. It could be people you live with, or it could be bullies who smell weakness and go after you. And the recovery from that kind of fear as an adult takes a lot of effort. And I know that I have a few dark shadows in me that I'm still working on. And one of them was having to go for an MRI when I hurt my knee. And I spent 40 minutes with God. And I won't say that it was, but it wasn't easy at all, because it's a very old trigger in me. It's actually, claustrophobia, but I don't live it. It doesn't guide my life, but when I'm in a dramatic situation like that, it's like my body from the neck down wants to react. And my head is saying, no, don't do that. So I love coming here because everything Sister Anjani was talking about, I get a chance to practice. You feel powerless in a moment until you grow up and realize that God is holding your hand. And that's my solution. And that's what really works for me. Not saying it's easy, and it does take practice, but it's a very friendly universe, even if the world is unfriendly, I find. So who would like, I think I saw a chat, or you can even speak if you want to unmute. Let me see. We have, Alma, is that you?
Yes, I just like the Sister Anjali's last question in her meditation is, right, like, what do I want my mind to feel for today? It's a nice reflection on how we can be the master of our mind. Right? Was the captain of our ship and what is that? And the blood of my feet.
Master of my soul, the captain of my ship and the master of my soul. Is that Walt Whitman or something? I don't know.
Yes, I like that. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have a comment or a question for one of our guests?
Hi, can I speak?
Yeah, who's that?
Usha, I don't know.
Oh,
okay.
hi,
Yeah.
Usha. Yes,
Hi.
of course. And anyone who
Yes.
would like to show their faces or just unmute, I won't call on you, I promise. But yeah.
So
Hi.
I had a surgery in 2021, and after 1.5 years, my husband was throughout with me. And then after 1.5 years, about when did he? I think a month before, he had to leave me to go to India. And staying with him 1.5 years, him doing everything for me, right from driving, everything. I would just go along with him, So that was something I was scared, but I was in, under Sister Anjani's teaching, and with Raj Yoga, I told him, okay, I'm strong, I'm good. You go ahead, And I had changed. I was really depressed, but then with Raj Yoga, it slowly brought up a lot of strength in me. The fear, was slowly going away. And then this, when he left me, the kids, of course, agreed to come up, and I was with my daughter for a few weeks and then came back to my place at Cincinnati. My son was with me for a few days and he needed to go back to New York. I told him, go ahead. And he was, in fact, my husband in India and my son were more scared, but I was not scared. I don't know what, I owe it totally to Shiv Baba, for me to suddenly come out of that, to my, like, I was not scared, and I managed to be there for a month. I was fine alone. So, I mean, so as Sister Anjani told, like, you train your mind that, no, I'm strong, I'm a powerful soul. And that slowly really heals you and makes you strong. That's my.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Usha. And you bring up an interesting point, because no matter what you believe, no matter what the thought is, what seals it for me is the experience of it.
Yeah.
And you had a whole month to reinforce a new pattern.
Right.
That was very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alma, were you speaking? Or
No.
Sister Anjana? I hear another voice. No? Well, I think we're approaching 8 o'clock. Is there anyone else in the audience? Any other members here who would like to ask a question or make a comment about their own personal experience, maybe? We have time for one more or two more.
Yes, good evening. This is Sherry. I'm on my
Hi,
phone.
Sherry.
Hey, I'm so appreciative of this evening's program. Thank you so much for the topics too, because I know that as you were sharing earlier about, have you ever been bullied? Yes, that's a big one. It's taken me a number of years to even be comfortable around a group where, like, usually they were men who, I was a little girl and I was attacked by this gang when I was 4 years old. So if I was in a social setting and there were a lot of these men around, they could be just innocent people, I would be very afraid. And I couldn't even stay there. But I made myself go to safe meetings and other places where people were, that, you could actually be there and not run away. And I continue to do those kind of things in safe settings. But yeah, that I see people now as souls, and I don't, I try not to see them as, oh, this is a guy, this is a girl, this whatever. And yeah, just to continue to practice putting myself out in situations where they may be work oriented, they may be casual or social situations, and not running away out of fear. What is this person going to do? And so I just keep practicing. That's pretty much it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you all again for coming. And thank you, Sister Anjani. I see it's 8 o'clock now. Thank you, Alma, so much. And I want to just tell our audience that next week we have Sister Shireen, and you may know her. She had a TV show, The Yum Yum Yogi, and a podcast, and she's kind of been out there with all kinds of interesting food ideas. I remember making her hamburgers once, and a very, very fascinating sister that I've come to know. So do join us next week, and she will be talking about mothering ourselves. There she is. Thank you, Brother Eric. Yeah. And so we hope you'll join us next week. Again, thank you, Alma. Thank you, Sister Anjani, for a most interesting, informative talk that we can all relate to, the young and the old. We all carry those little things in us that we want to find strength with. And Jane is, oh no, that's direct to me. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank you too, and Brother Eric, and everybody for coming, as Alma said, having the courage to come every week and look at ourselves and detach and witness what we want to change or what we love. Let's not forget to do that also, right?
I
What
would
we love
say
in our-
remember to apply the pause when you can catch your mind racing in the wrong direction. It's like, just put the stop. Use the same stop that we were hearing, stop it. but be very
Yeah.
gentle in
Yeah.
having the conversation with the mind and say, yes,
Absolutely.
gently stop it, pause,
Yeah.
you know, pause, and the mind will cooperate with you because it's my mind. It will listen.
Yeah. Beautiful. Full stop.
Full stop.
Alma, thank you too.
Stop.
again.
Thank you.
Full stop. Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you, Sister
Night.
Alma, Anjani.
Thank
We
you,
appreciate it.
Father.
And everybody for coming. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good
See you
Good
next
night.
week.
See you.
Shanti.
You, Sister Anjali and
Ashanti.
Alma. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
Shanti, everyone.